5, scene 1, out in front of the house.
Hi, Lance. Are you just coming home from school?
Hi, Mr. Woodward. Yeah, school's over for today. Are you doing some gardening?
Why, those bugs are eating my azaleas. Do you know how expensive azaleas are and how hard it is to replant them?
No, Mr. Woodward. Your azaleas still look fine to me, though.
All that insect spray they have to put on the plants to keep the bugs away. I don't know which is worse, the bugs or the insect spray. Why, those bugs ruined my tomatoes and my streamlings last year, but now I got the spray.
I'm sorry to hear that, Mr. Woodward. Is Bob still away at school? Will he be home for the summer? How's Mrs. Woodward? Mom told me that Mrs. Woodward is coming to the garden party next week at Mrs. Smith's house.
Yep, she'll be there. Bob is staying in Maine to work this summer. Just because you go to school, you can still work, too.
Tell Bob I said hello. Bye, Mr. Woodward.
See you later, Lance.
What is that human to you? Who is Bob?
The Woodwards have lived 3 doors down from us for more than 10 years. They are neighbors. Bob is his son. Bob helped me learn how to ride a bicycle when I was little. Bob is like a big brother to me. I miss Bob. He always told me things a dinosaur wouldn't understand.
Things? What things?
Secrets and things about how people are and how to take care of myself.
Humans.
Oh, look, there's Mrs. Smith. She's carrying a lot of groceries. Uh-oh. Things are falling from her shopping bags. I think I'll go help her. Hi, Mrs. Smith.
Lance says as he picks up some groceries from the ground. Lance, you startled me.
Let me bring these groceries in the house for you.
Oh, thank you, Lance. You're such a good boy. It's hard living alone sometimes. Since Harry died 2 years ago and Nancy got married last year, well, it is an adjustment.
I know, Mrs. Smith, but Mom and Mrs. Woodward are going to be at your garden party next week. You won't be alone then. Well, Tyro, those are our neighbors. Mom says you should always be nice to neighbors and try to be helpful.
Neighbors. Humans.
The Strantons are our neighbors, too. They live 2 blocks away. They don't do the same things we do, but they're still neighbors. They live on an estate in a mansion. They always give parties. The mayor was at their party last year. They own a lot of land, and Mr. Stranton is in the computer business. He supplies 3 towns and more with computers from his factories. Let's go. I'll show you the Stranton estate, but you can only look from the outside. Nobody is allowed on their property unless they have an invitation. They don't have any children, though.
Act 6, Scene 1. In front of the Stratton estate. Mrs. Stratton is standing by the gate that goes into the mansion. Mrs. Stratton is wearing a lavish dress and expensive jewelry. Mr. Stratton is by the mansion. Suddenly, someone jumps out of the bush and rips off Mrs. Stratton's necklace. Lance sees what is happening and calls to Mr. Stratton.
Mr. Stratton! Mr. Stratton!
Lance runs after the black-dressed figure and trips him while Mr. Stratton holds him down.
Go in the house and tell the butler to call the police.
Lance runs to the mansion and rings the bell. The butler is inside the house. Yes?
Hurry! Call the police! Mr. Stratton is holding the thief who tried to steal Mrs. Stratton's necklace.
I'll dial 911. Hello? There's an emergency at the Stratton residence at 35 Willowbridge Avenue. Send someone immediately. Lance runs back to Mr. Stratton.
We called 911.
Good. This guy has been here before, but we couldn't catch him till now.
The police come and take away the black-dressed figure.
What is your name?
I'm Lance Goldenridge. I live 2 blocks away on Alma Road.
Well, Lance, your parents should be very proud of you. They've raised you to be a fine young man. Thanks to you, we're safe again. Mrs. Stratton and I are grateful to you for what you've done. I want our friends to know about you. Tonight, Mrs. Stratton and I will pay a call to your parents and tell them that they have a son who can't be matched.
Lance leaves with Tyro. I thought he was a king with all his territory, but you were so fast. You outdid the king.
Oh, Mr. Stratton isn't a king. He's human, too.
Ah! Ah! You are a king, Lance, but not what I thought of a king. Humans, neighbors, respect, love.
Dinosaurs don't cry. Wait, you mean, Tyro, you are feeling like a human? Isn't it great?
Yes, but I think my time has come to go. I'll return to the ocean in the west. This is no place for a Tyrannosaurus Rex, but for humans, yes, the perfect place to be for humans.
So long, Tyro. It's been real.
Act 7, Scene 1, in front of the house with Jimmy by the trees.
So, what's new since last Saturday? I had tests and I went to my karate class. I haven't had time to call you during the week. What's new? What's new, you ask? Well, plenty. It's a long story. Last Saturday I was in the woods by my backyard and a Tyrannosaurus Rex knocked down our old oak tree. That's what's new. And furthermore, it started to talk to me. I've been living with a dinosaur all week long. Do you know what that feels like? He was so angry all the time, and of course he didn't understand half the things that were going on. But before he left, he started feeling and acting human. You know, normal. You expect me to believe that? I wasn't born yesterday, you know. No, look, the oak tree is knocked down. Look at all its roots sticking out. Something happened around here, but I doubt it was a Tyrannosaurus Rex. No, really. I took him to school with me. I showed him our neighbors. I even took him to the Stratton estate. Through the whole thing, he kept saying he was king and how I don't know anything because I'm not a king. But he finally came around. Wouldn't someone else say a Tyrannosaurus Rex if you were talking to him? Well, you see, he shrank and we talked through mental telepathy most of the time. I was careful that no one saw me looking like I was talking to myself. Lance, you're slipping, buddy. Yeah, well, believe what you want. You know, the Strattons know who I am now. The Strattons? They know you? Why would they know you? They just care about their rich friends and giving parties. Why would they know you? Well, I brought the dinosaur over to see the Stratton estate. I called him Tyro for short, and just when we got there, a thief tried to steal Mrs. Stratton's necklace, and I tripped him, and Mr. Stratton held him down while I went in the house to get the butler to call the police. Okay, Lance, I hope you can prove all this, buddy. And what's with your voice? It sounds different, deeper. Yeah, I think my voice is changing. All this excitement has aged me. Listen, buddy, we're still friends no matter how weird you are, okay? Listen, Jimmy, what do you say to some stickball or roller skating? Sounds okay to me.
Jimmy and Lance go off to the park to play stickball. Scene 2, in front of Lance's house later.
Oh, Lance, Dad and I have something to tell you.
Mom and I are very proud of you. The Strattons dropped by last night and told us the whole story while you were upstairs doing your homework. We didn't want to disturb you. They invited us to their party in June. And you too, Lance. It seems you made quite an impression on them.
Yeah, well, it was nothing really.
There's something else too, Lance.
Mom and I are planning to add an extension to the house. Also put in a recreation room downstairs where you can bring your friends. It will be like a gym, and we're adding another room to the house. The bulldozers have already started.
You mean our own gym? And what's the other room for?
Well, Mom and I are going to, well, you tell it, dear.
We're going to have another person in the family, Lance. You see, well, I'm going to have a baby, and you are going to be a big brother.
Mom, Dad!
Lance hugs them.
I'm so happy, I can't believe it. It's happening so fast. A big brother, a gym. Did you tell the neighbors? This is great. Wow!
Lance thinks.
Did you hear that, Tyro, wherever you are? I'm going to be a brother, a human brother.
The end. Thank you for coming to the Lance and Tyro Puppet Show. We hope you all enjoyed our presentation. The following are the voices of our characters: Lance Goldenridge, Arthur Finman; Tyro, Linda Beanstalk; Dad Goldenridge, Jeffrey Beanstalk; Grandpa Goldenridge, Charles Radisher; Mom Goldenridge, Andrea Page; Mr. Woodward, Charles Radisher; Mrs. Smith, Linda Beanstalk; Miss Adams, Andrea Page; Susie, Liz Labashka; Mr. Stranton, Jeffrey Beanstalk; Butler, Linda Beanstalk; narration voice, Linda Beanstalk; Mrs. Stranton, Liz Labashka; and Jimmy, Arthur Finman.